right, so we're picking up where we left off here. You have a very nice graph with data labels, titles on your X and Y axes, and a descriptive title. So you're ready now to put this graph into your write-up document. We're looking at step 3, put your graph here. Make sure it has a title and the X and Y axes are labeled. We're good on that. So let's come back to our graph. You have 2 ways to copy it. You can hit the down button. By the way, if you need to change any stuff on your graph, add anything, you would hit the down button and go to Advanced Edit. That brings you right back to the original window that we were working in. If you're ready to copy it, you're going to hit the down button and go to Copy Chart. You may also, that may not work, your Chromie may be funny about it, and so we'll click the graph so that it's highlighted, and we'll do again Control-C for copy. Then we're going to come over here to your document. We're going to click in the space where you want it to show up underneath step 3, and we're going to do Control-V for paste. We see the little thinking sign. Sometimes it's going to jump to the next page. That's okay. It's not a big deal. All right, so here's your graph now. We're ready to move to step 4. What does it mean? This is very important. Step 4 is worth a lot of points. So far, you've just been copy and pasting and mostly just letting the computer do your work for you to make this graph. Now, this is where your brain has to kick into gear and you got to do some thinking of your own. But I'm going to help you. We're going to work through it together. Okay, you ready? And I'm going to write in red. You can write in black. That's fine. But I want you to see what I'm writing. All right, so this is going to be a paragraph of at least 5 sentences. This tells you exactly what to put in there. Was your hypothesis supported? Let's write this sentence. Don't say yes or no. That is not a sentence. You will not get points for that. Okay? You are going to say, it turns out my hypothesis was supported, although you might have to say not supported. Let's take a look back here. I said my hypothesis, if the scratchy stuff is on the floor, then there will be more friction. Maybe I should have said the most friction, because that's a little more precise. When I look at my data, scratchy stuff has more than plain board, but you know what has the most? The prickly paper. So I'm going to have to say my hypothesis was not supported. Now I need to explain what I mean with 3 supporting items of data. Okay? Let me start off by talking about the plain board. My control experiment, the plain board, okay, used an average of, hey, I sure am glad I put some data labels on. Look, here's the plain board. It used an average of 7.33 washers. Isn't that convenient? I've got the number right there, and I'm going to get some points. Okay, it used an average of 7.33 washers, plural. Okay, then we're going to say the scratchy stuff used an average of, again consulting our graph, 17.67 washers. 17.67 washers, which is more than the control. However, and I'm actually going to write that, however, the prickly paper used the most washers with an average of, consulting my graph, 23 washers. All right, so already I've done this. Whether my hypothesis was supported, first sentence right here, 3 supporting items of data, actual numbers. So control experiment, 7.33. Scratchy stuff, 17.67.
In the building, please report to the cross-country area outside for your ride. Well, your ride is out for the cross-country area.
Okay. Scratchy stuff, 17.67, and prickly paper, 23 washers. Okay, so 3 sentences, each using an actual number as a supporting item of data. Finally, our 5th sentence should be a recommendation for how to best increase friction in the ship. So, obviously, we're going to go with the prickly paper because it was the best. I would recommend that the ship replaces the floor surface with something similar to prickly paper. in order to increase the friction. All right, boom. I just got all the points because I did exactly what I was supposed to do. Now I'm ready to move on to step 5. All right, how can my experiment be improved? Describe at least 3 ways we can improve our experiment. Now, here's the deal. I don't want to give away answers here, because if you just copy my answers and you're like, oh, but I had the same idea, I'm just not into that. All right, so here's some ideas. You may not have held some things constant. Okay. Did you put down your materials differently each time? Did your washers have different sizes from each other? Okay, let's just make like a little list here, because I'm going to try not to give it away, but I want you to have some ideas. I don't want you banging your head against the wall. Okay? Okay, maybe washers were different. Other materials different from day to day. Something about the way you decided when to stop putting the washers in the cup. Okay, I saw that with some groups. Sometimes you let the block go all the way to the end, but sometimes not. Okay, there's all kinds of things. So I'm not, or maybe different people put the washers in differently. Okay, so I'm going to do an example about different people putting the washers in differently. Notice, please, that this says at least 3 ways. So far, I have done everything that you need to do. I am not going to describe 3 ways. I'm going to try to describe one way that is not going to apply to most of you, so that I'm not giving the answers away. I want you to see how it's done, but not give away all the answers. Okay, you need 3 ways. So I would begin by saying, there are some ways we could have done well, we won't say a better job. There are some ways this experiment could be improved. Then I'll say, for example, it's nice to have those transitional phrases. Some group members dropped the washer in from up high, and some put it in gently. This may have affected our data because the jerking, when you drop it in, could have made the cup move too soon. So here's what I did. I gave an example of something that may have affected my experiment, and I said how it could have affected it. Then I would do the same thing for 2 more reasons. Your group is probably going to have different reasons than everybody else, okay? I can think of a zillion, but I'm not going to give them away. So you need to think of those reasons and write 3 of them here. This also is a very important part of your grade, okay? So please do a good job on this section. Lastly, if your group now has finished writing up and you still have a day and a half left, please, I'm posting a second experiment paper. You're going to do the second experiment, add it to your write-up. You're not going to need to redo step 5, okay? You're only redoing steps 1 through 4. So you could potentially get some extra credit by doing a second experiment. All right? You guys got it? Let me know if you have questions, all right?